Hi, my name is Russ Sturges. I've played Santa Claus for about 30 plus years now, and I really enjoy it. It's just a special part of my life to be able to experience Christmas with little kids and also with some of the older people. One of the opportunities I have is to be Santa Claus for the Alzheimer's daycare here in Chula Vista, and they're such sweet people. One of my favorite experiences is a little lady, her name's June. They get their picture taken with Santa Claus, and a couple years ago, they were each handed a bear. And she wanted to make sure that Santa Claus got a bear, so she gave me a Fozzie bear. And that Fozzie bear has a special spot on my shelf at home. I also have the opportunity to be Santa for the Chula Vista Starlight Parade here in Chula Vista. It's a wonderful experience to ride on that fire truck, to see all those people. Here in 2008, they say there were 65,000 people there. It was just a neat experience to be able to wave, to shout Merry Christmas and Feliz Navidad. It's just great. I've had the opportunity over years to be involved in many things. One of Mrs. Claus's favorite stories is for me to take my Santa Claus suit on a Southwest Airlines flight and change in the bathroom and be able to sit up in a little jump seat up in the front and talk to all the kids. And then afterwards, my little 18-month-old son didn't even recognize me. He said, "Dad, you missed Santa Claus." And it was fun. One of the things that I've also had the opportunity to do is to do things at church, to have little kids come up and sit on my lap, tell me what they want for Christmas. And it's a special part of their lives to talk to Santa Claus and to have that spirit in their lives. One of the things I did is I went to visit a couple of little sisters that were in a apartment complex. And on my way in through the parking lot, there was a young man standing there, and he was kind of a gang type of guy, and he just grunted at me as I walked past. But on the way back, after I'd finished with these two little girls, he said, "Santa, will you come talk to my mother?" So I followed him into the apartment, and here was his little old mother sitting there reading the scriptures, and her eyes got big, and she enjoyed talking to me, and I enjoyed talking to her. Also read from the New Testament about the birth of the Savior, and I think that made a big experience in both their lives that Christmas season. There's just so many different experiences. One of the, if you want to call it bad experiences, I went to deliver cookies to a family and some other presents, and a little boy came to the door and he says, "I know you, you're Uncle Joe." When he pulled down the beard and realized it wasn't Uncle Joe, he started crying and ran back in the house. It took his mom a couple hours to get him out from underneath his bed where he went and hid because he didn't know who that guy was, but he knew it wasn't Uncle Joe. I like talking to the kids and asking what they're going to give Santa Claus, what kind of cookies they're going to give him. And I always tell them my favorite type of cookie and about the carrots that they need to leave for the reindeer. And they always make a big deal about that. One of my favorite stories, it actually happened over 3 or 4 years, was a little girl that came up and sat on my lap. And her mom was a single mom. This little girl sat up and I asked her what she wanted for Christmas, and she says, "I want a daddy." And I'm going to myself, well, I don't do that kind of thing, but I says, well, never can tell what'll happen. And sure enough, the next year, her mom remarried. The next year, she came up and sat on my lap again. I asked her what she wanted. She says, "I want a baby brother." And once again, I said, well, Santa doesn't usually deal with that kind of thing, but you'll have to see. Sure enough, the next year, her mom had a little baby boy. The next Christmas, she sat on my lap again. I asked her what she wanted, and she said she wanted another baby brother. Once again, I said, hey, Santa doesn't usually deal with that kind of thing. But lo and behold, her mom had a little baby boy the next year. The next year, she was on her way up to sit on Santa's lap, and her mom says, "Nope, you stay back here this year." So it's fun. I enjoy it. I hope you enjoy my experiences being Santa Claus, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas throughout the year. Talk to you later.